Good morning, everybody. It is great to be here one more time today. And my name is Gary Fowler, and I'm the CEO, president, founder of GSD, Get Shit Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. I'm a 17-time serial entrepreneur with several unicorns under the belt. I was on the original management team of Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Even.ai, an AI HR tech company that I co-founded with Dr. David Yang. Today, I'm the CEO, president, and founder of GSD, as I said, Get Shit Done Venture Studios. We go around the world looking for the best entrepreneurs because we believe that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not. And with that, I have an incredible guest today. It's the first professional basketball player that I've had on the show, who's also a venture capitalist, so Shay Doron. She's the principal and the head of deal flow at A&D Ventures in Israel. She's a 2006 college basketball national champion, University of Maryland. She's the first and only Israeli to play in the WNBA. She was voted one of the top 50 most influential women in Israel by Globes magazine in 2011, and just has a very, very interesting background. And she played in Russia. So we're going to ask her some questions about that. So with that, I'd like to bring Shay on board. Hi, Shay. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
So how was it when you were in Kursk? So you went to University of Maryland. Did you wake up one day and just say, "Oh, I'm going to move to Kursk, Russia"? Well, how was that?
No, that was Kursk was like towards the middle of my career. Before then, I had played for WNBA in New York, played for a couple Israeli teams, a Turkish team called Besiktas, one of the most famous brands, in Turkey. And I played, that was my second stint in Russia. I played, actually, my first stint was in Ekaterinburg. All of these unknown.
Now, how was it when you were over there, Shay? Did it take long to get used to it, or how was it? Did you adjust? Because you came from Maryland, you could go down and, go to the dock in the Inner Harbor and all that. How was it going to Ekaterinburg and Kursk? Was there shock, or did you get adjusted quickly?
I don't think you really get prepared for minus 35 degrees Celsius without wind chill. I never got used to it. It's really, really tough place to live when you're used to a lot of the good things in life. We're in the middle of nowhere, no English, Russian, menu at a restaurant. So every little thing that you take for granted was made difficult. But it's an experience, right? I lived in the world. I learned how to read and write Russian because, I wanted to eat out in restaurants, and I have amazing Russian friends, and I got to know and experience a different culture. And also got to play for one of the best teams, competed for, top European EuroLeague championships and Eurocup championships. So it's a combination of an amazing experience and unforgettable one, but also one that you don't want to do for the rest of your life. But it's just take that experience, run with it, learn from it, and move on, kind of thing.
What did you do for fun? Like you're in
There's no fun.
Huh?
No fun there.
No? So no fun. And what about Kursk? What was because there's not a lot around Kursk. Well, what do you do? Do you go out and, go to somebody's dacha or cabin and hang around, or or just, what do you do?
For me, I worked out a lot, mostly just, honed in on my game. But I think one time we went tubing in, an ice tube, down they kind of carved these tubes in the snow, and you get this rubber tube and you fly in them. But literally you can do it for 10 minutes because that was the closest I think I've ever gotten to frostbite. My fingers were in so much pain from the cold that you just can't even do it for that long. So it's 10, 15 minutes, get in the heat, warm up, and then do it again, and, snowmobiles. But for the most part, when I had ran out of ketchup, I was like, yes, I need to go to the supermarket.
There you go.
That was basically the highlight of my day out there. It's too cold and there's nothing to do and there's nowhere to go. And thank God there was a McDonald's there.
How would people treat you? Because you're coming in and, you're different. You're not like folks there. How did they treat you?
They treated us fine. As a basketball player in the city that's kind of in the middle of nowhere. So people really know who you are, and there's a lot of fans. And so people kind of rally behind you. So that's a really, really cool thing.
It's a picture taken with you and autographs and all that stuff.
Yeah. We had like a good, I would say like 8 or 9,000 each game out in Russia. A lot of support out there for women's sports, which is in many ways surprising, but there's a lot of support out there.
Now, did you ever play in the Olympics? Did you go to the Olympic team in basketball or not?
I wish. The Israeli national team was never good enough for the Olympics. We did make 5 European championships, which is, legit to be, a top European team when you're competing with like, the Czech Republic and Turkey and really, really big national teams and countries with millions and millions of people. And then you have this little tiny Israel with 6-7 million actually competing. It's really nice, but no Olympics. That was definitely one goal that I felt was a miss in my career that I wish I could somehow find a way to get there.
And how was it at the University of Maryland? Did you like it there?
I loved it. Best 4 years of my life.
Really? Now, what'd you do for fun there? What was it?
Man. I had the best teammates. Anything I did with them was fun. Movies, parties. We had a lot of time spent together and making memories and doing really dumb things that college people do, like TP the lacrosse house and all kinds of stupid things. But we won a national championship in 2006, which elevated our awesome status on campus. We won the championship out in Boston. We chartered back to Maryland, and they said a few fans were waiting for us. I figured, it was like a few hundred fans, and then we got there. It was helicopters and thousands of students waiting for us. It was a surreal moment. It was really, really incredible 4-year run. But yeah, definitely the best part of college was my teammates.
Now, how was it? So you go into class after winning a national championship. Did they give you any favoritism when you come in? Is it where, did they say, "Oh wow, Shay, you're going to get a 4.0 for sure"?
Not a 4.0, but I mean, I had a test that I had to do, and I came to the teacher. I said, "Listen, I won't be able to make this test because I'm going to the White House to meet the president. After we win championship." She looked at me. She goes, "Out of my 20 years of teaching, that is the best excuse I've ever heard for a student missing a test, and I'm happily gonna, omit this one. I'll just grade you out of the 4 instead of out of the 5 tests." And so. We got favoritism in that aspect.
Now, that is a really good one. Now, how was it going to the White House to meet the president?
It was awesome. We ended up meeting President Bush, which, is a controversial one. But being in the White House, experiencing that is super unique that, very few people get to do, especially now. I think it's still closed to the public. And so it was just an unbelievably amazing experience and an honor to do so. And we were just on cloud 9 there.
Did they take you around to show you the White House? Did you get a tour and all that too, or not?
It's not a full tour, but literally every step you take in the White House is a museum, from the furniture to the art on the wall to the history behind it, everything. So it's it's an experience, and then of course you get into the room and the president comes in and shakes everybody's hand, and you're like, this is an incredible moment that. You're at the top of something that in a place where many other athletes wanted to be, and we're that team that won it, and we get the honor to meet the president. It was really, really cool. I have the picture hanging up in my office here. It's definitely a cool moment. I actually got to meet the president in Israel too, which was an amazing moment. My whole life, my mom always used to tell me that, the king and the prince and princess will never invite you to lunch or to dinner because I used to eat with my hands. And then after we won the European Championship here in Israel, the president.
You ate with your hands? What do you mean?
Yeah, you eat a pita and you.
Yeah.
And it's just like you're a kid, so she always just tell me that. And we won the championship. The president invited me to a dinner with him and the Prince and Princess of Spain.
Wow!
So I called my mom. I'm like, "Mom, I got invited to eat the Prince and Princess of Spain, but you're not invited." Just so you know.
That must have been great. And so. When you go down through it, how did it feel once you won that champion? At the moment that you won it, how did you feel?
Man, winning a college championship is different because it's like, when you're a professional every year, it's a different team. You could be in a different country, and it's a little bit less prideful. Like, in college, you got 4 years, you're all about the Terps, you're all about, that pride. And to win it there with people you've been around for so many years, and to do it on a team where, when I came to Maryland, we were last in the ACC. No expectations. No one believed us that we would win the championship. So when we did it, it was just like one of those accomplishments that no one ever believed. Only the people in the locker room believed they could happen. So it just makes it even more incredible. It just feels like about a 2-month high that you can't explain. You're just happy, and the world looks perfect, and there's just like cloud nine that wherever you walk, people are engaging and happy for you, and it's really a surreal moment to win a championship on that level at the Boston Garden, which is one of the coolest, most historical places to win it. So yeah, I mean, I think if you ask any of my Maryland teammates, they'll say that's probably, and all of us have had kids, we've gotten married, all this. That's the best moment of our lives, and probably will remain at the top of the moments that we have. So
now, do your kids play basketball?
I hope she will. She's right now. I give her a ball, she kicks it. I'm like, no, we don't kick balls. We throw them in the basket. She's got a little basket, and I'll tell her when she dunks it. She's pretty big for her. She's a 2-year-old. She's about 1 meter, which is like really tall.
Mm-hmm.
So she dunks the ball, and I'll go, Michael Jordan tongue, and she'll go. She'll
yeah, that's great.
I teach her Michael Jordan tongue all the time. So
that's great. And are you tall or not? Are you also tall?
I'm a good 5'9".
Mm-hmm. And how was it? Because there's some really tall women in the. How was it playing against? You come up against somebody that's 6'3" or 6'4". How do you play against somebody like that?
It's sometimes difficult, but oftentimes the taller they are, the slower they are. So kind of like there's a little bit of a balance. But my whole career, I just spent my off days trying to find creative ways to score, all kinds of weird methods, and I actually got pretty good at it. I was a scorer. That's what I knew how to do. I know how to put the ball in the hole. 6'4", 5'9", 5'7", 4'7", doesn't matter who was in front of me. I felt like I could score, and maybe it was a mentality thing, but the skills and the mentality combination of it allowed me to score a lot throughout my career, which is awesome. I think I left Maryland. I was, honestly, I don't even remember, but like top 5 scorers of all time, and then top 2 in Eurocup of all time. So I scored a lot of baskets.
Oh, that's great. And now, could you dunk at 5'9"? Because I know some people can really jump. I see.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Could you dunk?
No, I couldn't. I was very close to the rim, but I couldn't dunk. I had a pretty good vertical though in college. Not gonna lie, but no dunking.
Wow. That's great. Okay, so you go down through this. You're playing the basketball. What happens? So you're doing the professional basketball. How do you make the transition to the business world?
So a combination of things. First, I started making my own money. Started making my own investments. Some of it was in real estate. Some of it was in the stock market. And my dad, who is one of the managing partners of one of the best growth funds in Israel, always taught me that tech should be one of your investment portfolio. And so we did a bunch of an angel investing together, him and I. Some of the deal sourcing he did, some I did. I did some investing as an LP in funds out here, and some deals with him with his fund. So it was just kind of like every day to me, because it was part of life, and I saw him do it, and I was around him a lot, very close. So I did that towards the end of my 20s. I started doing that. And in my 30s, when I started transitioning, like, okay, life after basketball is coming very soon. I tried to do my own sports tech startup that failed miserably. But I learned a lot, got my master's in business. And then when I was ready for a VC that I really wanted to enter, COVID hit. I found myself at Silicon Valley Bank, which is funny because I did venture debt for almost 2 years. And after 2 years, I left. I was like, I'm leaving the safest job in the world for a first-time fund.
Used to be.
Right. But when I left, it was the safest job in the world. And Ventures, where I'm at today, is a first-time fund. And Ventures closed the fund in January. So, we have money to deploy, and it's great. It's a great market to be an investor with capital right now. And SVB is no longer, which is insane every time I say it.
Isn't it unbelievable, though? Because I remember I was with the COO of SVB. We had an event, and he came over and spoke. And this is like everybody was revered. He was revered, and all of a sudden they end up, the rug's pulled out from under him, and and a lot of it's because people, advise their startups, in my opinion, to pull the money out, and it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? It's unbelievable, actually.
It was insane, and I would, even when it was happening, I couldn't believe it, and I was like, even thinking about investing in the stock, I was like, there is no way, right, that this bank is closing, and it's so strong and so professional, right? I worked with some of the most professional, amazing people over the 2 years
On the planet in tech,
yeah.
and the most connected, like the hub.
It was an amazing organization, and it's a really, really big blow and a sad loss to the ecosystem, for sure.
And so you did the SVB. What did you learn? What were the lessons learned at SVB?
Well, first of all, I knew nothing about finance when I took the job. I came in there, I said, this is going to be a really hard, challenging time for me because I don't know any finance, and this is a very finance-heavy job. But when I make it to the other side, I'll actually have a really, really important skill. And that's one thing that, that I got from that. The second thing was I actually learned that out of investing, I don't want to do growth because I don't want to sit in front of Excels and financial models and discount cash flows and all that. I just want to see this founder with, the same thing I had in my eyes when I was 12 and I wanted to be the first Israeli to play in the WNBA. I want to see that in a founder and be able to give them the money to try to accomplish their dreams and be on that ride with them. And I think, at SVB, my time at SVB really helped me hone in on where I want to be in terms of investing into early stage.
Well, and what kind of check sizes do you write?
So we're a studio-based fund. So we'll have on the pre-seed side, we do up to $200,000, but we have a crazy large team in-house from tech to product to growth to finance and everything in between. We help build tailor-made plans for startups. So that's the pre-seed side of our VC, and on the seed side, we'll do regular $1 to $3 million check sizes. We like to lead rounds, but we can do follow. We can do just about anything. We've invested in so many different verticals that I don't even want to limit our vertical reach. We have a really, really strong LP US network, and we use it to validate the companies that we're investing in. If we can validate it, we can invest in it. And we've done a very, very large array of verticals.
Wow, that's amazing. And they're all Israeli startups, right?
All Israeli startups, or they can be in the U.S. with some Israeli founders in the founding team. So that's kind of like our scope for sure.
No, that's great. And so as you're going down through the process, so looking at the future, so you're doing your principal in A&D. What's the future hold?
I mean, the future is partner. I want to be a partner in the fund and continue to do what I'm doing. Honestly, I wouldn't change anything about specifically my day-to-day job that I'm doing today. I get to meet startups all day. I get to lead deals. I get to have amazing partnerships with, U.S. funds and worldwide funds. And I'm a super people's person. So the relationships formed to me are better than any money you could throw at me. And so the more I'm meeting people, the more I'm expanding my reach and friends worldwide. And to me, that's the best part of the job. Yeah. So we get to invest in startups for a living. It's second to basketball. I don't think there's a lot of things that I'd want to do ahead of what I'm doing today.
No, do you still keep in touch with your friends from 2006?
Oh yeah. They're my sisters. Yeah.
And do they visit you? And do they invest in any of the projects you have?
They've been to Israel multiple times. Mostly I come to Maryland because I really miss Maryland and all my, my Maryland crab dip and all the.
Oh man, you're making me hungry. I was just thinking about a soft shell crab sandwich the other day.
If we ever meet in DC, I will take you. You will. The best crab dip in Maryland is called Jerry Seafood out in Bowie. Oh, I dream about it. I ask him all the time on Facebook, can you ship to Israel? Because I want crab dip right now. It's like insane. They're home of the crab bones.
Oh my God.
I'm not a presenter or anything. I'm not making money.
That's really good. You're making me, my lips are getting wet here thinking about it. Now I remember going down to Maryland, and I remember going down to Annapolis, and getting a half a bushel of crabs, of jumbo male crabs with my buddies. And we would sit down there and we'd crack those things open and we'd have a couple of drinks, a couple of beers, and it was like the most amazing time. We would rent a boat, a 47-foot sailboat, and we would go out and we had a couple of startups and had a bit of success. So we went out, and it was the best time of my life. It's like it doesn't get much better than that.
No, it doesn't.
Especially in the Inner Harbor. By the way, I was on a plane flying back from Palm Beach, and the guy on the plane was William Donald Schaefer, who's a former governor of Maryland and the mayor of Baltimore. And he was telling me about how he built the Inner Harbor, like literally. And I'm listening to this history lesson for a couple of hours going north. And it was most fantastic. He said that when they built the Inner Harbor, he had an agreement that if they did this, that he would jump in the aquarium, right? He would jump in the aquarium, and he lost the bet, right? Which is a good thing because he wanted to make sure it was built, and he did it. He was the most, incredible guy. I think that if you look at it, a lot of the skill sets you learn in basketball pertain to business, right? So you want to win, of course. You got to keep yourself up. You can't, have your head down and think about negative thoughts. You got to believe in your dreams and visualize, just like you did 11 or 12 and thought about playing basketball. And if you focus on it, you can do anything you want. So looking out there to the startups, what are some lessons? If you had 3 lessons you could tell startups, what's the most important based on what you do as an investor and what you did as an entrepreneur, as a basketball player? What do you say 3 characteristics are really important?
So one is, and you can't achieve anything without this, it's dream big, like insanely big, right? Like be that 12-year-old girl, WNBA, insanely big. And then you create these little mini targets along the way that'll kind of lead you up to it. So you kind of have to have a path. It's not just like winging it. It's literally having these targets in mind that you are constantly seeing, constantly going after. And then those little ones along the way, those little wins kind of make sure that you're on the right path, right? Winning the college national championship, Gatorade Player of the Year, all these things that are like, okay, I'm a good enough player. Yes, 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 yes. WNBA. So that's kind of the first thing. The second thing I would say is choose your partners wisely, because startups is probably the most stressful roller coaster ride you will ever be on. And you want to be someone that you can. Are we allowed to cuss on this show?
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, I'm the type of person that you should work with someone you can say "fuck you" to your face, and then say whatever you need to say in the harshest of ways, hug it out, and then move on, right? And so, like, the ability to really be able to tell the truth, work through it, and get over that hump is that connection. It's very hard to find, but if you find it, it's magical. And the third thing I would say, and I tell this to all my founders, is hire more athletes. Because at some point, when you start a new job, everyone has a learning curve, right? So the athlete, they might have done sports their whole lives, right? And they don't know anything about marketing as much as someone that's done marketing. So there'll be a little bit more of a learning curve. But the second that curve is over and you have an athlete, like if I told you, give me a list of, the top 5, aspects that you would want in a hire. And you would say determination, teamwork, hardworking, a winner, whatever. And then I would say, athletes have most of those things. Like if you're hiring an athlete, definitely at the collegiate level or above, they have these skill sets that you cannot teach, and other things you can teach. And so that's what I tell one of my companies just hired a sales athlete. He called me up. He's like, I took your advice. He's amazing. He's awesome. He's killing it, And so hire athletes. Don't just look at the CV when you're hiring. Like think about the big picture on how they're going to fit into your organization as a person and whatnot, but also allow for growth internally, because you'll be surprised that where people can take you, and it's not always the perfect CV. Especially for younger startups who don't have the capital to hire these hundreds and $300s of thousands of dollars of hires. Think outside the box, and athletes is definitely a good place to start.
I remember when I was myself, not on your level, but I remember that I wanted to get a varsity jacket in high school. And I was doing martial arts, so I did judo and jujitsu and all this stuff, karate. But anyhow, we had a tennis team, and I said, "Well, how in the world? I never played tennis in my life. I didn't even know how to score, but I knew one thing: if you hit the ball across the net, you're going to win. So if you're consistent, you hit the ball." Anyhow, we played all summer. I ended up in the springtime. I started about a month before we had tryouts for tennis, and I became number 2 in the tennis team. And I had never played tennis and never had a lesson in my life, never. But I knew one thing is the only thing that matters is getting the ball across, right? And consistently, because sooner or later they're going to make a mistake. And so if you're consistent, I knew that that was the case. But then when you start applying those same lessons to your life, when I got a couple black belts and I did the same thing, applied the same lessons, it wasn't any different, right? You got to like dream big, you got to visualize, and you got to do things. Sometimes you're afraid. I remember my martial arts instructor had an 8th degree black belt, and he couldn't speak English, barely speak English. And he held a 2-inch cinder block cap in front of me. He told me that I needed to break it. It's one thing about breaking it when it's down to the ground, right? It's a whole other thing when you're holding it yourself and you got to balance and hit it. And I remember thinking to myself, I've never seen anybody do it in my life, right? So anyhow, I did it, I hit it, and I broke it. And he said, you have to have strong mind and you have to think about being on the other side. I'll never forget that. He said, you never can think about stopping. It's about being on the other side. And those lessons, when I started my first company, the same lesson, right? I wasn't afraid. I went down through and did it. And that's really what life's all about, is going to the other side and believing in your dreams. But you're just a pleasure to have on the show. What you've done in your life and accomplished is amazing. Keep going forward. There's for the startups out there, go out, talk to Shay. She's got especially our Israeli friends or Israeli founders, talk to Shay. She's got incredible knowledge and just a really good person. Reach out. So I want to thank you for coming on the show today. Thanks, Shay, for taking time out.
Let's play tennis sometime.
Yeah, I love tennis. I took 2 years worth of tennis lessons every day. I just wanted to do it. This was recently, but this wasn't before. But I started to do it. I had a professional teaching me a half an hour literally every day. And I ended up playing. So I'd love to play. You're going to kick my ass, but I'll still play.
I'm so jealous. I wish I could do every day I would. Something about hitting a yellow ball really hard to start your morning off. It's just like.
Now you're scaring me.
I don't know.
You said it with you. I've never seen anybody. You're like a cat and a bird. You know what I mean? You got that grin. That's great. Now we'll play sometime. Anyhow, to all my audience out there, thanks for joining one more time. GSD presents Silicon. Oh, Shay, how do they get a hold of you? What's the best way to contact you?
So just Google and Ventures. There's an application form for startups. We answer like super quick. I answer super quick. LinkedIn is always a great way to reach out to me. I answer. We're all of us at And. We're very, very approachable. So all the partners, anyone you reach out to on LinkedIn and through the website, you're going to get a response quite quickly.
Sounds great. All right. Thank you very much. And to all of you out there one more time, thanks for attending. It's appreciated. We'll be back for another exciting edition next Tuesday. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. I'll be back to you again. My name is Gary Fowler. See you later. Thanks, Shay. Appreciate the time.